Welcome to Pocket Watch Podcast. I'm Zach.
Cruz.
Elizabeth.
Hey, I know y'all heard the switch up. I know you guys heard the switch up. We do got another guest up in the building today for you guys.
That's right. It's Elizabeth. Elizabeth is back from Beauty Marks Podcast. Check it out if you haven't checked it out. You can see it on her Instagram. It's down below. Sometimes we say it's down below. It's never down below. It will be down below today.
It'll be in the description too.
It'll be in the description as well.
Yeah, it's always in the description. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's always in the description.
He's doing his job.
It might not be in the video, but it will be in the description. But it should be on the video.
So it's there. I was just constructive criticism was all.
Dang, you trying to take shots?
All right, Elizabeth is back. We brought Elizabeth back 1 year later. Exactly.
Yes, literally.
It was like
it was cold.
Yep. It was cold. This isn't the second time we've done this, guys.
Dang, just dropping the ball on me like
The
that.
behind the scenes. No, we got Elizabeth back. We're super excited. Beauty Marks Podcast again. Oh, whatever platform you're watching on, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow all of the above. Thank you so much for those that listen weekly. We love you so much. We got some big things coming this year. 10,000%. We still got like 100 shirts already made, and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that situation. Thank you guys again. Elizabeth is back on the podcast.
I'm glad to be here.
Yay!
Excited for you guys. You guys have grown and kept
You
up,
too.
and I feel
you
like
got some big things going on this year.
yeah, I'm excited. I feel like we were just talking about it. It's like you staying consistent. It's so hard, but it's worth it because then everyone can start a podcast. Everyone can start something, but it's continuing doing it. And I literally said that last time, but it's the truth. A year later, we're still here.
No, there's a lot of people that we know that start up podcasts around the time that we did, and you're the only person that we know that's still going. Besides maybe like the other podcast that we had on.
But they didn't.
The wet slap.
We didn't know they started.
Yeah, but we didn't know they started. But you're the only person that we have out of the 4 podcasts that we knew.
And she started a year before us.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that's what's really cool about this too is because this time last year we had you on, and this was like, we didn't make a year yet, right? Like we were like 7 months or something. And then I would even tell the guys, I was like, yo, this girl, she's been doing this podcast shit. Like she made a year like last month or something like that. Or when is your year?
Yeah, well, my 3rd year is now in June.
June?
Yeah, in June.
Okay, so she did it was 1 year then in June. Yeah. And then you made 2 years the following. So I was like, she already did her 1 year. Like I saw her post and stuff. I was like, she's doing this and she does it consistently and stuff. And I was like, guys, like this is what we got to do. You know what I mean? And it's so cool, like, 1 year later, and then you're still doing it, and we're still doing it. It's really good stuff, and good stuff is coming.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, very proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Thank you. That's the other thing we were talking about. Is like we love this shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like you love what you do and stuff, and not a lot of people make it doing this stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely we enjoy it, but it definitely does take work, time, dedication.
But
it really does.
Those that do make it are like us, right? Maybe better, whatever the case is, whatever your opinions are. But like they're consistent and they love doing it, and that's all you can hope for right there.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
But yeah, Elizabeth is back. For the guys, you know, there's a lot of topics we save for Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
Am I like your woman representative here?
Yes, exactly. 100%.
Yes. You're like my one episode a year.
It's either you or Chris Stan.
Yes.
Yeah, but she hasn't been on since I proposed. So
no, she love that episode.
Well, she's been like a Jamie since you proposed.
Yeah, she'll talk to the mic.
No, she was on the episode. I thought. No,
she got the bag and ran.
She's like, I'm good.
Wait,
she's not doing a little cute thing. I
might be wrong. I don't know. It's all kind of coming together.
I'm excited.
She is our representative. There's because you know what happens is like throughout our episodes we'll have topics that we'll talk about. Like these topics that we're going to talk about today, we've like touched on them, right? But it's like we don't get deep into them because it's like, all right, we're a bunch of guys talking about a girl's perspective. So we should chill. And whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You got to have the female perspective here. And you're a representative. So there's a lot of topics that I think in the back of my mind that I wish we could get deeper into that we just kind of stay away from, you know? And our woman representative, Elizabeth, is here to report.
We struggle though sometimes, like getting like women on the podcast. That's like something.
Why is that?
Just because.
No, it's networking.
That's what the biggest thing is. I just feel like a lot of the people like that we've already kind of started branching out because a lot of the people that we get on, they know somebody that we've already had on. That's why that is kind of like branching. And I feel like sometimes we're always like, man, we need to have more girls on. We need to have more girls on. We try to branch out. Sometimes it's just hard for us to find.
And I think it's 100% like the attempts, right?
Yeah.
And part of when we look for guests, like I have no problem with Zoom. Zach does very good Zoom podcasts and stuff, so I like it these days. But I've made an effort recently. I'm like, we gotta get some girls because we have girl listeners. Mom, no, I'm
no, but seriously
Always
though,
mom.
hey Lisa, I hope you're doing better. Because talking about
she's
that,
flying home today, guys.
Hey.
My mom broke her leg.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she's flying home today, and she's got her leg in the
I
aisle.
hope you're well. Definitely.
Hey, congratulations on the flight home. You're finally making it home.
No, but I've been making some efforts to get some more female perspectives on because I think we have great content for it. We just can't get into it because it's just three dudes.
Or ask your audience if they recommend. So send some recs of some girls that you would like to hear from.
Yeah,
you heard it.
Hit us in the DMs.
I'm sure there's
And you can't
amazing
put
women
Elizabeth.
around here. I mean, you can follow me, but
definitely follow her.
Definitely, I feel like you would never know like what other people or who they would like to hear.
So for those girls listening or guys, and you want to hear the female perspective on certain things, send it to the DMs, comment, whatever the case is, because I'm a freaking master at getting these people on.
Yes.
I'm not, but I there's like different strategic ways. You don't just go to the DMs. You comment, you reply to stories and stuff. You find the business email. Those are all the things.
Marketing.
So we're gonna do that if you put the recommendation on. And I'm already doing that for a couple others, so it's gonna be okay.
Got some people in progress.
It's gonna be okay. It's not like Elizabeth, but it's gonna be okay.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
No, we appreciate you for coming on.
So today I want. So we touched on it like a while back. We actually got a clip on hobbies and stuff like that, right? But definitely more from the guy perspective. I know Zach knows, and then and something I've been realizing. Because we did some polls. I love that you did that. And I was trying to follow the questions, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do something else so then we could have some analytics.
Yes.
But we did the polls, and actually the polls kind of like opened my mind to it, right? Because like people in your circle, you kind of feel like that's what's happening. But then there's like, spread the data out, and then it's not really true. But I know a lot of girls that struggle finding hobbies. Right? What were your stats? And I'll tell you mine.
Yeah,
let's go through
it. Because I literally went through and I screenshotted it. For this topic.
Actually, start with yours.
Okay. So I asked my audience, and I polled my audience. And the whole thing was because this week I started acting classes.
Oh, that's so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very, very excited.
And dancing.
And I do dancing, yes.
You have a lot of hobbies. That's why I thought you were like perfect.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I definitely wasn't always like that. That's why I'm very excited to talk about this because I feel like I know the other side when you don't have hobbies at all. But this week, so I polled and I had a lot of interaction. Like when I post like my salsa classes or I post like any classes I'm taking, people are like, oh my God, that's so cool. Where do you take them? Or like, do you go by yourself? I get those questions a lot. Yeah. And so I made a poll because I was like, okay, it seems like a lot of people struggle with that. So then I made a poll, and then you literally were talking about that was the topic for today. So I'm like, this is a sign.
Yeah.
So I made a poll, and it said, is it hard to find a hobby as an adult? And 64% said yes. This was out of like 100 people, though. So we'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's still high statistics.
Yeah, of the interaction that was on my stories. Because,
we
only
have
like
70.
You're fine.
Go.
And then the second question was, as an adult, do you have a hobby? And 67% said yes, and 33% said no. And then I asked, what holds you back if you would like to have a hobby? And the highest percentage was time. And then the second one was not knowing what to try.
Yep.
And then the third one was doing things by myself. So it was just interesting because I feel like everyone would maybe like to do it. And I would think that when you're in high school, it's so much easier to be like active, doing different things, joining different clubs.
Because you're learning.
Yeah.
You're experiencing.
And your parents don't want you to like mess up. So they're like, stick you in anything.
Yeah.
They're like, just try.
Also because I feel like school's like, hey, basketball signups are happening this week.
It's easy access.
This is happening. Yeah. So like you're already at school. You just stay after school. And not just that, but you don't have to worry about working, being tired from work. Not just that, but funds. A lot of hobbies, let's be honest, cost a nice pretty penny nowadays. Every single hobby that I've ever been involved in has cost me money.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Well, it's also like And I like that too, because it's partially, I think some people like, and I like that you put as an adult.
Yeah.
And an adult, like, you know, we got people
after 18.
Let's just say like you're out of high school and maybe like semi out of college type person. Okay, so then I there is a lot of I feel like I know what's out there, or like a lot of like I know everything. Not like I know everything, but like I know that it's not. I know if I go by myself, it's gonna be awkward. I know like this, and because I've been through that, you know, whatever. Versus in high school, you're kind of like innocent, and you're kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe I become friends with these groups. You know, it's very, and that's something I think too.
Yeah,
you know, and like even with, I think Kristan kind of thinks like that too, where it's like, I've seen awkward situations, and if I go by myself, I'm liable to that awkward situation. And it's part of like feeling like you know what the experience is going to be like. Versus like going and just saying, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be like. Let's just see. Let's have fun. Which is kind of like that naiveness when you're in high school. And then also like what Zach said, as an adult, you got to put yourself in places where it's easy access. Hobbies. Like you do that, right? And you put yourself out there to find out certain things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like you have to be more. You actually have to look for it. I feel like as an adult versus like when you're in high school. That's why I gave that example. Even in college, like at UCF when I was there, it's like all these clubs, all these things that you want to do. Of course, you're like still busy, and that was also a big thing of like people responding of time. Realistically, there are some things that you have to make time for. Like it's like okay, it's a class that's at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah,
exactly.
But there's other hobbies that are like reading or journaling or like you going on a walk, like or working out. Like there's still hobbies that you can do that like are on your free time that you can enjoy. And people try to like complicate it. I feel.
Now I have a question because I feel like, do you guys consider?
Do you guys?
Just like a general sense, you know, but do y'all? There you go. That'd be better. Do y'all consider?
That's just more ghetto.
That's not ghetto. That's more country. But do y'all consider the like scrolling through social media and different things like that? You guys consider that like hobby or no?
Well, what's your definition of hobby?
I don't consider that a hobby.
Why not?
Because I was also gonna add, I don't think watching TV is a hobby unless it's like this is my show, right? Like I think. Maybe like Game of Thrones is a hobby, right? Or if there's like...
Why? Because you watch it?
Like you do it once a week? Like it's like a show that you look forward to every week kind of thing?
Right. That's kind of like a hobby. That's something where it's like I'm invested... And maybe, to your question, a hobby is something you invest yourself into. Okay. In any way or shape or form. Okay. Right? Like watching TV casually is not a hobby, right? But like, oh no, like, you know, Jon Snow or you're watching like... Euphoria, right? And you're like, oh no, I need her to be better this season. That starts to classify as a hobby, in my mind. Okay. I don't think social media as a hobby is very mindless, right? Unless you're doing like marketing for people or something. Okay, it's more of a side hustle, but hobbies can be side hustles, right? Like in my mind, I don't know. Or
I mean, I just asked that because I just asked that simply because I know a lot of people spend a lot of time on their phones. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, they maybe
time too. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people spend a lot of time on their phones, and you know, some people use time as an excuse, and you can easily go to your phone and just see the usage of how much time you spend on social media and stuff like that. And that time can be like delegated to other activities and other things. Now, for me, I don't really care whether it is like a hobby. I think it's kind of like an individual type of thing, because I feel like a hobby is just something that somebody does with their free time to relax and kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like
enjoy something or learn. Or
just kind of like relax. Yeah, exactly. And
but like, because there's like, I feel like there's like 3 different tiers of people, of those that said it's hard as an adult to find a hobby. There's people that have kids and a job and stuff, and they're like, no, like literally I wish I could find a hobby kind of thing, and that's why they're answering it's hard. Then there's people that are like looking for hobbies and can't, and then they're just like, I don't know, I can't find one kind of thing, or I don't understand. I feel like with those people, if you're on TikTok or whatever social media for like an extended period of time, like that's literally a window of your day, and you feel like you need a hobby, you got to start. Like, then your point, I feel like, is a very valid, right? Like, if you're looking for a hobby and you feel like you're having a deficit of something you're invested in, that means this TikTok or social media isn't doing it for you. You got to put that away for a second and kind of find something to invest in. That's a hard step for people too. Yeah,
it's like switching over like your time, like using that time wisely in another way. I'm kind of doing that when it comes to reading this month because I love watching TV. I love movies. I love all of that whole world. And I used to go to the movies like once a week. Like I always like the new movies. Like, and that was like my hobby.
But go to the movies?
Like go physically. I know. I love that whole experience. I love that too. Whole experience.
Yes.
But I realized that I also wanted to do other things at that time. And I was like, man, like I know that I like feel tired after 6 and I like want to go and lay on my bed and watch something. But actually I have some books that I really have been wanting to read. What if I like have a cutoff time of my TV or like I'm only going to watch this show tonight and then I read the rest of the time, or I want to take a class this week, so then this day I'm actually going to like get out of bed to actually go, you know? So it's like there's intention, like being more intentional with the time. I love how you guys are saying that because I think it's true. It's like anything that you want new, you actually have to invest in it. And if you've never done it, it can be scary at first, but then you'll be surprised at the things that you actually end up liking.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think something you kind of pointed out just now was like it's important to note if you're looking for a hobby, it might not be the funnest at first. Going back to our clip, like hobbies take work sometimes, right? Like the best hobbies take work, actually, you know? And then the less work it takes, it becomes more of like you're going to the movies as an event or something, you know? And that's something important to note where it's like, it's not going to feel instantly gratified. You're not going to feel instant gratification from whatever hobby you might end up becoming invested in, right? Like you said, I got to wake up early to do a class. Or reading is like something I like the result of, but maybe starting it out when I don't read that much you know, like I gotta kind of get used to the vibe of reading, you know, and then next thing you know, you're invested and now your imagination's going crazy while you're reading. It sucks at first for most hobbies, or it takes some work at first, and I think that's part of the adult thing with me too. I think is some people are used to like somewhat of a routine and an easy life or an easy day. Like I can't wait for Saturday, you know, kind of thing. And then you end up you kind of avoid that tension or any like you avoid anything that's
like uncomfortable.
You want to be comfortable. You get comfortable. That's exactly what it is. It's like you get to a point where you're like, all right, I got my 9 to 5. I'm comfortable. I know I could go home. I know I could eat. I know I could turn this on. I know I could do that. Boom. And like, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. But then over time, you're like, I'm missing out on something. Like, I'm not investing in it. And then those are the girls, I think, and guys too. But like, I've been noticing a lot of my friends that are girls with that issue. And I think it's that. It's like you're comfortable and you don't want to be uncomfortable for a second. And that's honestly what it takes. That's one of the things it takes, I think, to like start a hobby. Because you mentioned it right there. You're like, I have to cut time off and start reading. A lot of people are like,
they're like boring.
But the
like,
result,
so lame.
It's just like the knowledge and the experience of that. And it's kind of like semi-meditation. It's a different brain stimulation than watching TV. Those are reasons why you start something.
Do you consider video games hobbies?
Oh, I do.
But it can also be like an addiction.
Yeah, exactly.
Like anything to an extreme is like wrong. Even if you read too much, I feel like then you're literally spending your time like
to an extreme is wrong.
Anything,
always.
So what do you think? You think it's not?
I've already said that I think anything can be a hobby to any person. I just think that it depends on how they take it.
So I'm gonna just let you in. This is a lot of the reason why I wanted to do this topic, right?
You never said your poll stats, by the way.
And I think my poll stats are going to be perfect after this.
Okay, man.
Anecdote.
All right, I just wanted to point out.
So, and my poll stats are like a reflection of what I'm going through, right? Okay. And it's not like a thing, right? I love my fiance. She's great. She's amazing.
Oh, you name dropping though?
This girl.
She knows. She'll say, and even on the poll, she was one of the people that says she thinks people should like have separate hobbies in a relationship. You know. So that like seeing that is cool too because I'm like, you know what? That's you want to find something But we do have zero problems in our relationship. We're not swingers, guys. No, but we have zero problems in our relationship. And the only like problems we do have, right, is I got a podcast. That's a hobby, right? It's a passion. It's something we love to do, but it's a hobby, right? And that's something individual to me. I play video games too, right? But I schedule, like I literally talk to her about like, all right, I'm planning out 4 hours on Saturday morning, you know, like, and then I'm done. And then good. Like whatever we do, it's not like
you're all day.
No, like it's not like every time you're done with dinner you go and you play video games and stuff like that. It's a scheduled out thing, but and it sounds super normal. What I'm doing, right? Yeah. To somebody with hobbies and it's like, cool, you're gonna do that for 4 hours. I can find something to do for 4 hours. But when there's somebody that doesn't have hobbies, right? And then it gets to the other reason why I think as an adult it's hard to find hobbies, but it creates tension. Like, it becomes, I'm going to either do TikTok or watch TV, and you're kind of, like, taken away from our time together kind of thing, right? And that's why, I mean, we've had the conversation, we need to try to find you hobbies and stuff. And it's a conversation that we have, and then it kind of dilutes because it's not that big of a deal, and then, but it's there, you know? And it's like, look, you would have zero problem with me scheduling out 4 hours every other weekend or doing Friday nights or a Sunday afternoon when we're talking about 3 hours. If you had, like, we're talking about 8 hours a week, which is a lot. I'm not going to lie. I have a lot of...
Because you have multiple things that you have found passion in.
Yeah. So, you know, I know I'm on the, like, you're doing a lot scale because there's school and work and shit or whatever. But it's like, we're also young. And this is the time. Like, we are going to be old and boring. Right?
Well, you can still have hobbies at any age.
100%. But, like, you know, I'm not going to be podcasting in my 40s unless I'm Joe Rogan, right? Like,
what you mean, bro? You trying to bail? You trying to bail on me, bro?
Yeah, we got 20 years, guys. If we don't make it in 20 years, then that's it. I'm calling it quits. But it creates tension, and some of my buddies' girlfriends are very similar, right? Where like we'll plan that 4 hour window or something, and then it's like. It's a constant problem kind of, and it's like, man, like we hang out every 3 weeks, you know, and we're talking about 4 hours. Like that's when you know, like, okay, you need to find. That's where I believe having individual hobbies is important in a relationship, because if one person's doing it in a healthy way, you say, you know, that's 5 hours a week, not 8 hours, 5 hours a week, and that's exaggerating a little bit. That's not crazy. And it becomes crazy when the other person does. I believe it becomes crazy because if the other person doesn't have similar hobbies that they can do, then it becomes a little bit of a, and it's not conscious. Like, I think it's a little bit subconscious. Like, really? Like, we could be doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but like we always do that. We do that a lot. You know what I mean? And I can't do this all the time. This is my time. This is my window. And that creates tension on a relationship, I think, right? And no relationship's perfect.
No, of course. That's very common. Like, I feel like you're talking about most relationships.
So
it's either one or the other.
And it goes to, and you mentioned, you used to kind of have a problem with hobbies, right?
Yeah. And
I definitely think part of why it's hard to find a hobby as an adult outside of thinking you know everything, outside of easy accessibility, would be if you're in a relationship. And I think girls in a relationship have more excuses to depend on somebody else's time or use their partner as a hobby, honestly, right? Like finding joint hobbies only, and or the casual hobbies, like that's my partner's time, right? And you become more dependent in some way, and you should be. If you have a significant other, you need to be dependent on each other. But that, I feel like that stunts being able to get hobbies and whatnot, right? And she has a friend that was in a long-term relationship, and then they broke up, and then that's when she was forced to find hobbies, right? And kind of let go of the stigma of going somewhere by yourself and stuff. And it's a force. It is. At first, it's a force to her, and then it becomes a thing, and it becomes fun, and then they become in this certain environment, and they're loving life. And it's interesting to see that it takes becoming single for a lot of that to happen. because before that she was very homebody type thing. And that's, you know, for those in relationships, it's a good thing to look in the mirror sometimes, right? And just be like, are we getting comfortable? Are we doing this? Yeah, you know, and it's hard in a relationship when it's just two people talking for understanding to happen constantly and all the time, right? And for, let's just, you know, Kristan, it's hard to explain, like, I have a healthy amount of hobbies. I think you need some, you know, and that can't come from me. That's why I always, like, we talked about on another episode where, like, therapy is good. Like, couples therapy, I think, is a great idea. Not just, like, you could have not real problems. Yeah. But a third opinion is, like, all that matters, you know? Like, even, like, how she voted on the poll, she kind of sees where people are voting, where it's like, yes, people need individual hobbies, you know? And I think that shows, like, okay, you know, it's not just me and him talking. I'm kind of opening up my mind to, like, how what's normal out there, and maybe I'm being unfair, you know? And I do the same thing for a lot of stuff, you know? Like, I get caught up in me and your situation. Yeah. And then I kind of take a step back. I'm like, oh, shit, Zach doesn't do that. I'm a dick, you know, or something.
Yeah, it's in self-reflection, or like maybe it's like a normal thing, you know. Right. It's not like a big issue. It's like, actually, a lot of people have that struggle, and it's okay. I think that with that, at first, I don't know, like, you know, like, I don't want to talk about her when it comes, like, because she's not here.
Let's
but
say
just
in general.
The perspective, yeah, in general,
the prototype.
I would say, yeah, I definitely know. I have to say that I do have a lot of hobbies because I am single, so that is a huge thing. So I don't want to say, like, if I was a mom and if I had multiple kids, I can't tell you that I would be like, oh yeah, I have like 5 different hobbies. No, because your priorities are a little different. Yeah. But I do think that whatever is important for you, you will make time for. And I'm really big on, like, self-care and mental health. And so if for you going and spending time with your friends one time, you know, in a certain time a month is your time that you block off, I think that that's important, because that's for you as an individual, will help you. We're all so different. So maybe for me, I'm like a quality time person. So I'm like, let's go to the gym together. Yeah, let's go to the movies together. Let's go do all these things, you know? And so it's understanding, I feel like, from a girl's perspective. And I would say a lot of women do back me up on that it's like, if for me, my quality time is like, I want to do that stuff, but with you, it's finding those things together that you do have. And, like, there are some hobbies that you can do together that it's like, this is our thing. Like, something that it's like, I'm going to wait to watch this movie with this person because, like, that's our thing. We watch movies together, you know, like the new ones. Versus, like, okay, I go to the gym at like 6 a.m, but I don't like that. That's not my thing. Maybe for me, it's a class at night, a certain, you know, so we have different stuff, you know? Yeah. So I definitely feel like it's finding the things that work for you, and when it comes to a relationship. But I do think that for me, I used to be in the relationship of, like, I would love to do this stuff with the other person. So until I became single, I feel like it did push me. So I relate very much to that story, because then I was like, all right, I'm going to take all the Zumba classes, dance classes. I'm going to do all the things that I've always wanted to do. I'm going to go to network events. Like, now I really go anywhere by myself, and I have, like, no fear or worry. And something that now is, like, in my priority is, like, when I get in a relationship, I want to continue doing salsa and doing all that stuff. Like, because it's so easy to fall back and be like, oh, I just don't have time for it anymore, because relationships are more time consuming, which makes sense. You're investing in it. When it comes to finding your passion or finding what works for you, I feel like you have to try so many different things. Yep. I remember I was like, okay, what do I like? So I first started with a Zumba class at my gym. I would work out, like, regular, you know, like, weightlifting. And then I was like, but I just, like, want to do something else, like cardio. Like, I hate cardio on the friggin' treadmill. I'm like, so I want to do something else. And so I literally, there was, like, a group that was, like, in the time slot that I was at the gym. And I'm like, that looks kind of fun. But, like, I feel like I don't know anybody. It kind of, like, people look at you through the window. Like, I was, like, intimidated. And I'm like, I'm just going to go and be in the back, in the corner. And so I did that. And I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. Like, you know, I did it. It was fun. Like, everyone's just, like, not even caring about that you're there. And I feel like then I got out of my head.
You eased into it.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So it does feel
that's
uncomfortable. Like you will feel uncomfortable when you're doing something new, and that's normal. People do not care as much as we think they do.
Nope.
They're not looking at you.
Especially in a room full of 30, 40, 50 people. It's like, sorry, you're not that special. Relax.
Yeah, like we really think that everyone's like, oh, this new person. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Is she by herself here? Like, no. I know networking events are definitely different, and you have to learn. Like, you have to build up the little like, whew, all right, like I have to look at people in the eyes and smile.
Step 5. That's step 5.
Yeah, not be on my phone. Like, that's like next level. But when it comes to like finding a hobby, I feel like it's trying different things. Maybe from the outside, it would be surprising that I actually love the outdoors because I'm like a girly girl, quote unquote. But I've gone like whitewater rafting. Yeah. I've gone kayaking. I do like hiking. Like wherever I go, I try it out. There's some things like whitewater rafting I wouldn't do again.
You don't want to be drowned.
No, and like so many people fell off. People got like injured. Like it was a little traumatizing for me.
It sounds like you went to like a crazy one.
Don't try water rafting.
Yeah, it was a little dangerous and wild. But like I wouldn't have known, right? I wouldn't have tried.
So some hobbies you need a guy is what you're saying.
Oh wow!
Actually, our whole white raft was women. We're the only group. Because long story short,
that's fun though. That sounds really fun.
No, it was not. It was horrible. That's when I was like, she need a man here. Like I feel like I'm screaming, but I was literally like, oh my god, where's the guy? Like, why didn't anybody tell me this is hard?
To pull yourself back inside is not easy. People don't realize that.
And then when you finish a 5 hour, the one that we did was like 5 hours. I didn't sign up. I just went.
5 hour water raft? Yeah. That's a long. That's a lot because it takes a lot of energy from you.
Oh, I was dead. Like we were all, and I was in the front. I was in the front right.
5 hours.
And so we're like leading it. Anyways, long story short, we're at the end, and they're like, "All right." So you're like dead, exhausted, and it's 4 of us girls in the thing, and they're like, all right, you gotta get your raft and carry it up the hill, and we're there like, you're freaking kidding me. Cool. And like there was like a whole bunch of other guys, like groups of guys that were just like, we got it, and then it's like us like, we got it.
Oh my god,
girl power.
I think women can do a lot of things.
Yes.
I'm just telling you that activity you do need men. So yes,
okay,
we do need.
That is crazy.
Just side note.
Wow, 5 hours. That's a long raft.
It was a long thing. I went for my friend's birthday. It was actually my birthday weekend. We have a birthday thing, and she was like, I got it. I'll book it. And I was like, I had never done it before. And
where did you guys do it?
It was a memory.
It was in.
I've never done that.
No,
I've done it in Tennessee.
Oh, Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Yeah.
How long was yours?
Maybe 30 minutes. That's why when you said 5 hours, I was like, damn.
I was in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, white water rafting in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting place to go to for a birthday weekend. That's cool.
Yeah, and one of my friends lives there from high school. Yeah, and
that
so we went up there.
Long time. 5 hours is long.
A long time.
That's
but I felt so adventurous after that. I mean, I broke my nail. I got like bruised up. I got hit in the eye, so I had like a black eye. Yes,
no way.
It was a lot. It was rough. But anyways,
you got beat up literally.
I came back.
The next morning you woke up and you're like, don't fucking touch me.
No, like literally our car ride home, we were all quiet. Like we were like
traumatized.
Like me and my friend were texting next to each other like, is this breaking our relationship right now? Like it was a very. So if you ever want to do a team building activity,
that's funny.
I don't know if you like panicked on yours, but
no,
it's definitely
I was good.
Great.
That was.
But you know what though? A lot of people don't realize, like, if you've never been on a raft, period, like I've gone like tubing out like on lakes like that before, and people do not realize how heavy you are to pull out of the water and get back onto a tube whenever you got life jackets on and stuff like that. Your body weight does not feel like your body weight.
It's not like a pool.
No.
It's not, you're light as a feather.
No. It's not like that at all. Like, especially when you have a life vest on and everything like that, it's game changer. People do not realize I've gone out with people before and like they can't get themselves back. I'm like, pull. They're like, I'm trying. I'm like, I'm trying too. You just do something.
We're going to wait till we get to the shallow end.
literally, we've had to have people hold on to the raft and just pull them to like a shallow area so they can climb back on. It's like, you're done. You're not going back on again.
But those activities
are more extreme.
Right. So like, I mean, and that's the cool girl trip. Anyways, that's fun. But some of those activities like hiking and stuff, do you think you would do those when you're in a relationship by yourself? Because those are kind of activities where it's kind of like that should be maybe a us thing. What do you think? Or would you still like? I don't know, because like you went through shit, which is why you're single and you're going through. You know, you're living
my best life,
revitalized, right? I see that honestly as like a gift in life that you got. You know, because I'm not gonna lie. Like me and Kristan been together since high school or whatever, right?
Okay, wait, where you going with this?
No, I'm just saying she.
You want to be single? Is what you're trying to say? As your
No, I'm just saying, like, because I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything, but that's something she missed out on. You know, and we grew together. We had to grow together. And from 17 to 26, there's a lot of different levels of growth and rates of growth, and not like. When I say growth, I mean like in all areas, you know, like self-confidence and stuff like that. I was always the only child. That's the thing for me. So like I didn't have to go through that experience to be able to do those things. I was always the only child. I love being alone, right? Like
that was you were set up to figure it out by yourself in a way. Like you had to make friends. You had to do these things.
Like I'm gonna hit up Zach when I'm a kid.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like a brother that's just gonna keep me occupied or whatever, you know? So I was used to that life. So that's where I kind of, you know, and it sticks with me. Where Kristan kind of had a family, like brothers and stuff, and it's just not the same. And then when you...
and she was close with them, too, on top of it.
Yeah, and then you grow from that to, like, you know, a serious relationship. You're so much more susceptible to that comfort type feeling. And that's why I think what you went through, it sucks. And I have another friend that went through something similar, and it's like, that sucks. But it's a gift, you know. It is a gift. Like you got a different way of living that a lot of girls are trying to fight for or wish they could do. Like, you know how many girls probably look at your story and stuff and it's like, this bitch. Like I want to be like her. You know what I mean? Like
I hope you know that you don't have to compare yourself to me.
I mean, but it's like I love that she can do that. I wish I could go. I always seen my mom was like a single mom, so when I was at my friend's house, she would stop at restaurants by herself and stuff. I never seen a problem with it, you know? Yeah. And I always, like... And also I realized, like, people think you're better than you actually are. Not that they think you're worse than you actually are. Like, when you see somebody eating, I mean, that's different. Eating by yourself, maybe they'll make assumptions. But at the end of the day, it's like... They don't know you. They just know how you look and stuff. They might create their own things in their head that you're better than you actually are. You know, like, you don't have to think like people look at you like a loser all the time. You know? Yeah. But I think that's an experience you went through that's really dope and it's a blessing. And the only way to get that lifestyle that you have is to, like what you were saying, is like force yourself to be uncomfortable. Because the only other way that you get that uncomfortableness without forcing yourself is like traumatizing breaking and I'm single.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
You know? And Definitely. It's not like that's the reason why you go through that, but it's like I'm uncomfortable anyways. I who cares? I just need to like do something fun. And in a relationship, you gotta make yourself uncomfortable. That was me. You wanted to mute me?
No, I didn't mute you.
Anyways.
You tripping.
But yeah, so I don't know. And then those activities, so to go back to my question, even though I went on a tangent, what do you think about those activities? Would
you still haven't talked about your polls yet, bro.
I know. But would you still
the statistic in me is dying. Like, I just want to know the statistic comparison. And I've lost, and I forgot what yours are at this point. Because I wanted to compare them mentally.
No,
and I forgot.
No, hers was as an adult. I like that because it was different.
Okay.
So hers was all about hobbies and whatnot as an adult. And those were the analytics where most people feel like it is harder to find hobbies as an adult for different reasons.
And then 67% people had it.
Yeah. Okay. So then since we're talking about the relationship side or whatever, there you go. My poll was men have more hobbies than women. Question mark.
Oh, that was okay.
Because again, I'm getting back into, I know my experience. I'm going to put it out there to see. Because like it just seems unfair, but then we kind of dissect it. Why?
For that question, you also have to kind of know what your gender of audience is too.
Okay,
like
so 50.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like if you ask a room full of guys, do they think that they have more
like,
hobbies than guys? I feel like in a general sense, more guys are going to say.
No, you're right. So
your audience is mostly men.
Yeah,
my
exactly.
audience is mostly women.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I'll say 10%. Female, and your girl is one of them.
Even though our listeners, our listeners are actually Sometimes, some weeks we have more girls that listen than guys. Actually,
Oh.
surprisingly enough, I was actually shocked at that myself. But nonetheless,
who cares? Men have okay. So because our demographic is mainly men, let's say that this poll is based off how men feel about their situation.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, like what their experience is with women they know. Men have more hobbies than women. 55% says yes, 16% say no, and then I put same as a third option, and 30% say same.
What did my girl say? I'm interested.
She said yes.
Okay, I thought she would. Well, I was curious.
I said same on that one.
Same.
Yeah.
I think I said yes. 'Cause I just did like in a general sense of what I have seen. I think that in a general sense, men tend to do it, at least in my perspective.
And it's hard too, because like we know you. We've had Keisha on. We've had
and I know a shit ton of girls that do have hobbies,
crazy hobbies.
I do, but I feel like in a general sense, I know more guys that have
like the average household. Like I would say, I don't know. In my experience, girls like you and Keisha and stuff, like it's just different, and because that I don't know. There's on average, I feel like it is different, but I also know a bunch of girls that craft all the time. And stuff that are
which is a hobby.
1,000%.
Crafting, anything creative arts is.
And you know what? On the contrary, what I was asking you earlier, I didn't get to touch base on it. Was I asked you if you consider video games a hobby, because a lot of the guys that I know, they spend almost all their free time playing video games
or whatever, right?
Watching sports.
Yeah,
that's why I was asking, because do you consider watching sports a hobby? Do you consider video games a hobby? Because a very big majority of guys that I know, they use video games as like some of their hobbies.
That's why I like this stat, because I think it's pretty much 50-50, but 55% is probably. Yeah, maybe that 5% is the guys on average probably just watch football. Not that it's a hobby, but they like guys are more
they enjoy
easily.
That.
Yeah. And then there goes the 16% no, and then like 30% is like no. Like so like it's not that. It's like 50-50 if you ask me. Like now that I look at it, it's like it, or maybe like 50-40 for the most part. Which that's when I was talking about, like, I project things based off my situation, but it's like these polls are kind of fun because you kind of realize, all right, let me see what the other guys are going through, and it's like, you know, and then the girls that answer is interesting, and it's like, okay, like whatever the case is, and then I put hobbies matter in a relationship, which is a little general. 90% yes. Out of how many were there? 72. Okay, so 90% yes. And let me see if any girls. One girl, your girl said yes. Hobbies are important in a relationship. So there was only 5 girls that voted. So
voted yes or voted no?
And they're 50-50.
Oh, they're 50-50. Well, how's 5 50-50?
Huh?
Like
more on yes. So
more on yes.
2 said no. So and that's
okay. So
who says no?
You're like, who is this?
Oh, the weirdo. All right.
Wow.
Right. So
he's referring to a guy. Don't worry.
Hobbies matter in a relationship. No. All right. That's pretty unanimous, and I think we all agree on that.
That they do matter.
Because hobbies matter in a relationship.
It's having something outside of the relationship.
Or during. That was more of a, like, together hobbies I think are important. Just as important.
Like, because that's more like compatibility or things in interest in common.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like it's possible to have them. And it's interesting that you guys you were talking about that both of you guys have been like high school sweethearts.
No, not me.
No, not you?
No, Jacob and him, and me and my girl have been college sweethearts.
Okay. No, but like I'm sure that when you first started dating till now, you've changed so much. Your interests have changed and everything. So I feel like you can find those things, and that's what we see. It's like we can find those new hobbies. We can find those new interests at any time. And maybe like you were so used to a certain way, but then you're like, I want to try this. Like, I want to try this new.
I have a new hobby every 3 months.
Really? What's your current hobby?
Actually, right now, I probably have like the least amount of hobbies I've ever had. I would say my current one that I've been doing. I'm trying to think about it. No, I don't think I have like a current one that I've been gung-ho about. I have ADHD, so I go through phases where I'm like crazy about something 100%.
Googling shit.
And then like
CBD
other times
was a hobby for you at one point.
CBD was a hobby for me at one point. I've had hobbies for like
Zach
literally
was
almost
chink Ching and Chung? Or
no, it was CBD. It wasn't even weed. It was just CBD. It was just CBD. But yeah, I've had hobbies. I've had arts and craft hobbies. Like I still do that stuff right now, like doing decals like that. I've had guns, fishing. That's a hobby. Yeah. And I say guns are probably still going to forever be a hobby for me. I haven't fished in a long time, but I still love it. I have so much things you could possibly think of. In every aspect, in every way.
That's good. And so you've tried different things to kind of figure out what you really like. Yeah,
some things I don't like as much as others, but yeah.
So the last poll was separate hobbies in a relationship are important. Meaning, like, so, I mean, the first one's a little general. That's why I posted the second one, because I was like, all right. And it's pretty much the same. 86% says, yes, separate hobbies in a relationship is important. And more girls voted on that, which is interesting. We had the most votes on that one. So
everybody skip 1 and 2 into 3. They're like, okay, they asked enough questions.
Some people don't answer the first, like they answered the second one, but other things I'm like, you know what? This is our poll.
Yeah, it's whatever grabs the attention, because I think the separate one maybe resonated with certain people. I don't know. But that's still 80%, 86% say yes. So it's slightly changed that no, not separate hobbies matter.
I think it's a balance. I think it's important to have hobbies with your significant other, because that creates bonding experiences and stuff like that. And I think it's also important to kind of have your own free time doing your own thing. But that's perfect for me.
I don't know. That was a good conversation. I think we hit on all the points. Let's summarize it just a little bit, because I got another topic I want to get into. So with hobbies, you talked about accessibility is one thing.
Time.
Thinking like time.
Doing it by yourself.
Stuff like that. And I think we touched on a lot of those things. Why? And I know it's easier said than done, but then we also said it's going to be uncomfortable. That's something just to get in your mind if you want to start a hobby, is it's going to be uncomfortable at first, and that's what the best hobbies feel like once you get used to it and you like it. I think that those are all good things. I had one question, too, before we move on. The networking events, like what networking events do you go to and stuff like that?
I'm more like in person. So like when I work at coffee shops and stuff like that, like I meet the owners. Like that's more my personal. I actually this year on my vision board is to network, like go to networking events when it comes to like podcasting or creatives and stuff like that. I used to go to like YouTube meetups. Meetups is a really big way too if you want to meet people.
Really?
Meetups. So you look up a certain category in the area of Orlando, and then like different meetups come up. Of like certain interests.
They had like a massive like YouTuber convention thing not too long ago over at the World Center Marriott.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, they do conventions all the time.
Yeah, there's like a big one for that. But yeah, I've been to like some meetups for like my businesses like that before, and it's a little bit awkward, but you know, it's kind of like you have to kind of get used to going.
It could hit, it could miss.
Yeah.
Right. Like
I would say the things that I've learned though from going to like. When I was in real estate, same thing. I like went to those little things, or like even when I go to salsa socials, those are like you go and you dance with random people. So it's just like what I've done that has helped me to kind of get out like of my head is like
take a shot.
No. Well, if that's your way, then hey,
box breathing.
But I definitely feel like you getting out of your head is like literally smiling, looking around you, and like. Kind of giving that energy of like you're approachable, and it has nothing to do with like sexual like dating. You know, it's more of like you're just giving like an energy of like. And then if you see someone that like, for example, for me, if I go to an event and I like am kind of shy of like, okay, I'm not gonna go directly to a guy, but maybe like there's a girl that's like getting a drink at the bar next to me, then I'm like, hey, I love your dress. And she's like, oh, thanks. Like, I got it from here. And it's already like, oh, have you been here before? Like, where do you work? You know, so it's like making small connections right away. A compliment goes a long way. Looking up, not being on your phone. And I feel like that just like your posture and like you like smiling, I feel like already makes you more approachable. Versus you like being like this or being like in the corner or like not looking people in the eye. I feel like that has helped. Personally.
Yeah, that's a great tip too.
Whenever I'm nervous, I just start roasting everybody in my head. I'm like, that guy got some stupid ass fucking shoes. I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, but seriously though, it's true. Usually, like a lot of times though, like for the events that I've been to, I found that just trying to like because usually whenever you come in, you sit somewhere or something like that. And those are like the easiest because you just start small talking with the person next to you, and that kind of opens up avenue. Then the people in front of you turn around, and then it's like you have a big group of people talking. And then after that, you know, you just kind of branch off.
But it's also like, you know how they say like just smile and you'll feel a little happier.
Yeah.
You know, just force yourself to smile and you'll kind of feel it.
Yeah.
Coming in, you'll feel more happier. So like if you're in your own head or you're nervous about the networking event or being around people you don't know, just smiling and opening yourself up and not being awkward. It kind of like mentally makes you a little more open to the situation. Yeah. But also people don't realize like when you are in your head and you are really shy, your body language makes it
what
worse.
You give off, because you're like very closed. You're like kind of like
it makes it turn into the event you were scared about.
Yes. Because then it's like people are like, can I go up to them? Do they want to talk to me?
Yeah,
and sometimes
it also gets weird sometimes when you make the eye contact with the person that's like really standoffish there.
Yeah.
You make the eye contact and be like, oh shit, am I supposed to go say hi?
No, I think that's a great tip though, because everybody has their own mechanisms when they're around people they don't know. For me, it's like I'm just jokey. Right, like we make eye contact. I'm like, I see you, you know? And it's just like,
but that like it breaks the awkwardness.
Yeah. So. And I'll act like it's awkward. Like I don't know.
Oh my God. You're like, are you awkward?
But
I'm
yours,
awkward. That's
yours is like, you know, like let me show myself as presentable. Let me be happy, and let me pick up on girls.
I feel like you look more confident. To me. I feel like something that I remember someone told me too. It was like, take space. So like when you go into a place, it's not saying that you're like the best, but it's kind of like, okay, I belong here. Yeah. Like I'm here for a reason, and like I want to meet people, right? Or I'm trying to help my business grow. So like, take up space. Like you're meant to be in that room. Yeah. So it's like, don't minimize yourself. Like, oh my God.
The cool thing about marketing events too is also that a lot of people are there to talk. Yeah. And I've been to events where it's kind of like sales pitch events, kind of like like I've been to like events where like. So I've been to title events, and like for me, like for my business, I want to get title business to start using me, and all the other notaries that are there, they want to get the title companies too, and that's a little bit more different energy because it's like at that point it's like oh, are you a title company? Oh, you're a notary, so you're trying to take my clients right now next to me. So the energy is a little bit different for those, but like when I've been to events before where it's just like networking, everybody's just like really bubbly and like open and being nice for that, so it's a little bit different.
And I think too, like the some people probably listening will think like, but like you got a podcast, like you got something you're pushing, which kind of changes it. But it's like the meetups and stuff. Things like that is kind of cool just to put yourself in different situations where it's interest, just based off interest.
It's not even about what you do. Like in my salsa stuff, nobody knows what I do. I'm telling you, it's funny until people follow me. They're like, oh, you have a podcast and you talk about like all this like more like intense topics, and I'm like, I would have never gone because that's not what I try to sell myself. It's not. I'm not at work when I go to salsa or when I'm at acting class or when I go to a workout class. Like I'm just there to have fun. I'm just there to be there. That's it. Like, so I feel like it takes the pressure off when you do interest-based stuff, because then there you never know. Maybe the person next to you is the realtor. Maybe the person next to you is like something else, and then you can meet them through that and make connections and network. Yeah. So put yourself out there this year. Try something new.
And she's giving
at
you
least
tips.
one thing.
Yeah.
Try one thing. Like whatever you've always wanted to do. Just be like, I'm going to go to that class. Or let's say you're scared to go by yourself. I would say my last tip of that is then invite someone. So like if literally you're like, I just can't go by myself, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's a little different. Then be like, okay, let me invite this person and be like, hey, meet me here at 6 p.m. Come with me. Yeah. And like, then that way, like, you know, you start kind of, and then maybe one day they don't show up and you still go. Yeah. You know? So it's like, it's that push.
Yeah.
That's a good advice. That's a good tip. I like that.
I love that. All right. And we're going to transition with similar topic. So some of these networking events you go to, right? And meetups and stuff, you're single, right? You're dating or whatever. I think like the dating apps and stuff is a great alternative these days. Like I don't think it has the same look as it used to or whatever. But I always mention, because like when some of the girls that are some of my friends talk to me about they're having a hard time finding a guy or whatever, I always think like, well, it's like, because I'm in school still, so I always think like that's the best place to find somebody, right? Like having a study buddy or something. Like, hey, do you want to study? Like it's the easiest olive branch to extend.
That's how I got my girl.
See, See? But then, like, okay, if you're not in school, what do? You know? And then...
Yeah, it gets tough, man.
Because bars and stuff aren't necessarily it, right?
I remember someone, just a side note into that, because I remember I would get the advice when I was searching, like, yeah, go to the bars. I'm like, I don't even drink. I don't want to find someone at the bar. Yeah. Because that's not even my thing.
And
like,
that's their thing.
Imagine, imagine they're like, well, I go every day to the bar. I'm like, well, I don't.
Yeah, you need somebody there. Mix. Yeah.
So technically, it's not really going to a place to put yourself. It's like, what do you like to do? And do those things. And then look around.
Yeah. I've had somebody tell me that, like, if you wanna find somebody too, go to like somewhere for something that you love to do. So like if you love reading books, go to like a library so we can find somebody. Which that's probably gonna be really tough because most people, if they're sitting down reading a book, the last thing they want is somebody come and be like, "Hey, I think you're really cute." It's like, get the fuck out of my face. Let me read fucking Shakespeare or whatever.
It doesn't happen. Like maybe you.
I'm
like curious. I'm like, maybe I need to go to like Sabillon.
Yeah, but yeah, they said go to places that like or like have that have common interests of you. Yes. You find people that have naturally the common interests.
Because and you know that's interesting too. Like Sabillon. What's the other one that has like coffee shop inside?
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
So it's like maybe the first time you go, you're not gonna like see some guy like reading or whatever. But like if you make it a habit or a hobby or whatever. Over the course of 6 months to a year, like you might meet somebody that's kind of there doing the same thing. Yeah. And that's how you meet somebody. That's a good way of meeting somebody. And that's, to your point, just do what you like and look around. Yeah. Right? Whatever. I wonder, I'm trying to think of like other events for girls to kind of go to. So books. To meet guys or to dancing what? Is a good idea.
Yeah. You're saying to meet guys or make friends?
To meet guys. Okay. I'm on this right now.
Oh, okay, on dating. Yeah. Yes, I would definitely say the classes, because literally I dance with different guys every day that I go. So and I like meet, and it's casual. So you're like, hey, my name is, okay. And then you're doing the step that they're teaching and you're like, all right. And then you go to someone else. And then it's like, that's the whole class. So
it doesn't have to be anything.
It literally doesn't have to
It shouldn't be anything.
No. Right. People literally go that are married, that have a, like, it has nothing, like, the tension is not awkward. But it was at first because I wasn't used to that. And I'm like, oh my God, when I was in a relationship, I would have not danced with someone else. So like it takes a little bit. But I would say that dancing classes, just interest groups of like paint nights or things that are like co-ed, like that you usually would
paint
go
nights.
to. Yeah, like there's people that go to that. Yeah. Comedy shows. Yeah. I actually like the Saks Comedy Lab. They have improv classes that are co-ed. And I was going to either do that or the acting class that I ended up doing. And I was like, oh, that would be cool.
And that, you know what? The Saks too is kind of like going to a bar, but the percentage of the guy that likes to go out all the time is way lower. Yeah. Because like even if you're at a bar, you could find a guy that didn't want to go and he's just kind of there. Yeah. But that's very low percentage. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like at Saks, it's like some people go there just for that and want to see the show and they're like hanging out there or whatever. Yeah. That's a great place to meet guys and stuff.
Yeah, I would say, church is another one if you want to. Yeah, or true. Like somewhere with like a small group of something of interest, you know. I don't know if it's said. I
can see my
like
friend going to church like, nope, nobody's cheating.
Honestly. But I wouldn't say all of them are vetted out. So like at the same time, you can meet people anywhere, really. Yep.
It's a risk no matter what.
Yeah, it's a risk.
You see a guy in church is really cute. Like, oh, you're really cute. Let me go talk to him. Hey, what's up? Oh, no, I just got out of prison for 25 years. Yeah. Oh, what did you do? I killed somebody. That's great. That's good.
People have stories, right? People have a past.
He could be a good guy. You don't know.
Yeah.
But, okay, I like that. That's good. Those are good alternatives. That's interesting. That's fun. What do you, not getting too deep, and I like those as events. Those are good alternatives. Without getting too deep, what are some of how are the dating app experiences, do you think?
Well, of what I've heard, because I was telling you a little bit earlier that I actually want to try the dating apps this year. I actually haven't, so I can't say like from my experience. Okay. But through friends of their experiences, I have heard both sides, that it's horrible. They hate it. The men are, trash. And all this.
I've heard which apps you use too is important.
Yes. So for what I've heard, it's like Hinge, Bumble are like the more lighthearted ones that you go to like meet someone in a way of like a relationship. Yeah. And then, Tinder has its connotations
Netflix
of what
and
people
chill.
think. Yeah. So I would say depending on what you're looking for. I genuinely think though, even me meeting people, so I've met people and gone on dates in real life. So that has worked for me, which I enjoy because it's like I'm not through enough, but I'm gonna try it, and then I'll let you know. I will come back with some stats of that.
That'll be a follow-up one.
And
Yes.
it will be a follow-up one because you're going to get into it on Beauty
Yes.
Marks eventually. That's
Yes.
good. Some of the guys that you have dated, how did you meet them?
Through salsa and through a bookstore and a coffee shop.
That's why these are all girls.
Coffee shop. No, actually, it was a coffee shop. So people actually, this is a tip for guys. If you want to be like the less creepy, go to like regular places and then just be like, excuse me, like I noticed you and I just want to tell you that like you're really pretty, or like, do you come here often? Like, you know, those little things instead of just being like,
let me get your number.
Yes. There was this one, oh my God, I remember this one guy that went up to me and I was like, he was so nice. Like, wow, if you would have asked me, I would have given it to him. Because he literally went up to me. It was at a Chipotle. I was literally eating stuff in my face.
So he's got good taste.
He does. Like, Chipotle? What? We're both here
what
on a
did he order,
Tuesday?
though, is the important thing.
Honestly, I didn't look. But I was literally sitting there, and then he comes up to me, he's like, and I'm like mid-chips. Like, mid-chips and salsa.
Thank you.
And he's like, and he's like, excuse me. I just want to let you know that, like, your makeup looks really, really nice. And, like, you're very pretty. And, like, people would say, like, oh, was he gay or whatever?
Right.
Like, no, he genuinely. He's like, I just wanted to tell you that. Like, I hope you have a really good day. And I'm just like, wow. Like, he noticed something. Actually, guys that give me compliments on makeup. And that they noticed, that's a very good thing. That I was like, wow. They're like, oh, I like what you did to your hair. Like, oh, I like your outfit, your style.
That foundation really matches your skin tone.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Those compliments are less like fight or flight. You know, they're not like, you know.
And you know what? I mean, great tip. Comment something like, guys like girls with makeup, I think, right?
Most men
without
do. Even
knowing.
though they say natural. I want a natural look, and then you look at the girl that they're talking about, and they have a filter. So it's kind of funny.
They don't. Yeah, it's like we like girls with makeup without kind of knowing that we do. But you don't. But with that said, guys don't realize that girls put makeup on to look good. Like they put time into their day to look good with makeup. And complimenting something like that is big. Like hair, makeup, stuff like that. Like that's a great point for like picking up a girl or whatever. But also...
And vice versa, complimenting a guy for his haircut.
Yes.
You compliment a guy's haircut.
What's a good compliment for guys? Like what would like kind of lower... I mean, I know that guys don't get as much compliments. I have to say that.
No.
Meaning like we don't usually do that. So if someone was to tell you something... would be like, oh, that was nice. Like, that made my day. Thanks.
That's actually a really good question.
I would say, like, I like safe in a not, like, you're a nerd way, right? Like, I like, oh, I feel safe around Cruz or something like that. Or I feel safe around you. Oh, my God. Kind of thing, you know? Like, I can see that. Like, you're protecting me. Like, letting a guy know that.
But a girl wouldn't be able to tell that by
me.
initially seeing you.
Like for instance,
like so if a girl just met you at a coffee shop, she can't be like, "Hey, thank you for coming to get coffee. I felt so safe with you here today."
Yeah. Okay.
Unless you give like very like those vibes. Yeah. Like I guess like I'm in line with you, right? Like you're in front of me, and I'm like no, because the compliments that I've thought in my head, and sometimes I've said it, sometimes I haven't. I'm like, oh, his style's really nice, or like his haircut,
or
like I like the glasses that he's wearing, or I like
style is a good one.
I would say style's good for me. It's style, facial features. Like for people that tell me, oh, you have a nice smile. I like your hair, just like that. I like those. People tell me that they like my eyes.
Guys are simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
To say right, like that's why these are dumb answers. Because
and it's also so what I'm actually going to say is it's actually very dependent on each guy because everybody has like their things that they're insecure about.
Yeah.
And if you can pinpoint what that guy's insecurity is and compliment that one thing, you're golden.
The other thing I think is a lot of things that guys care about you can't directly compliment.
Yeah.
That they care about in a negative way? No,
like I care about like maybe being successful. Like a lot of guys care about money or security or something, right? So like I care about like watches or something like that. And it's like yeah, I care about it, but if a girl comes straight up to me and says, "Wow, nice watch," I feel like she's a little gold digger a little bit, right? Like, does that give off gold digging vibes?
I don't know. Yeah. Would that give you a gold digger?
It's kind of like, I kind of think like
materialistic stuff.
Materialistic, like, ooh, that's a nice watch, because watch is like a piece of like you're either spending money or you're not.
Or like your car, like, oh wow, your
nice
car is really nice.
Yeah. Or
yeah, if you don't compliment, don't compliment a guy
each other's with cars that. And jewelry, but when we do it, you take it as like a gold
I would say definitely not vehicle. I mean, like if you've already met with the guy, like let's say you're going on a date and he picks you up and he has a nice vehicle, compliment his vehicle. Yeah, that's cool. But like if the first thing you say to him as an icebreaker is to compliment his car,
but that's in his light heart. It's all context.
I would say
all
that.
Context, like, wow, nice car, and then you're like on your way still. Different.
Unless
you know, I don't know.
You're both in a BMW with the windows
rolled down.
Unless you're a car girl. Okay. Like if you're like a type of girl that likes to build cars for that, and it's like, oh, that's a nice car. Does that have the blah 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 engine in it?
Or you go, oh, nice car. My uncle has one that something.
Yeah.
That might be different, but it's the equivalent of like.
And some guys,
a guy saying like, you have a nice body.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like he might genuinely.
Is that all you care about?
Right.
Yeah.
But it gives you that connotation of like, like that's the first thing you want to say to me.
Yeah.
Where like makeup makes you feel like this is something I control and I'm doing for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're complimenting that. I love that. You know. And then for a guy, I don't know. It's like nice watch is like, yeah, thanks, but he's gonna see you in a way. Guys aren't turning girls down for the most part, but like he might have a perspective of you. Like that's the risk of a girl. Guys, risk is like getting the rejection. For girls, the risk is the perception. Right? You know, because like, for the most part, guys don't deny unless they're in a relationship or whatever. Like if it's a single
guys
dude,
deny, bro.
Wait, what? Deny what?
Like deny
girls, he's saying.
Or how about flirtatious conversation? I don't think guys deny that very often. Like I don't.
Oh, like if someone like entertain it.
Yeah.
Like if they're the guy that's in a relationship.
I
feel like it's like that's dependent on the guy. Because I know some guys that are like they just shut it down so quick. They don't even like meaning like they're like thanks, but like they don't like continue or like ask a follow up.
Yeah.
And then also like I usually look at that.
The
personally.
Rings and stuff like that.
I'm a very, I just am like, oh, okay. Like, and I know, like, if I said that comment, like,
that's it.
I'm not hitting on you in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess it's perspective, like, relative.
Yeah, because
I was just thinking, too, like, sometimes there are some rich people that want to be applauded for their for like their stuff. So like if they're driving a Ferrari and you go like, oh, nice car, the guys are like, yeah, I know, you know, like.
But I will say it's got to be a thing, right? Because
it's hard to say.
Just the fact that most guys should come up to girls, I think it's so different when a girl comes up to a guy.
Oh, absolutely.
That like the rejection rate is lower. We can't.
Yeah.
Right. It's got to be lower.
No. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I saw a post about that said that women. Like there is a percentage. I wish I like screenshot it or something, but it was like that women that go after a man or like pursue, you know, in the way of like they contact or hit on first or ask for their number first. They have like a higher like actually get into a relationship with them than the guy doing it.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but that was kind of what I was telling you about Bumble. It was like, but then does the guy kind of like then get lazy? Because it's like, I'm the one that hit on you, so you know that I'm attracted to you. So then now are you going to be like,
man, you know, you saying that, this reminds me of like, exactly, man. I hated
the game.
When I dated, I fucking hated with the biggest passion the game of like, oh, I can't text her because like she's gonna think I'm too neat. Bro, fuck all that shit, bro. I hated that with the most passion when I was dating people, and people wanted to, any girl, I'll tell you right now, any girl that I dated that tried to play that game immediately got cut off. I did not play with that shit.
No, but what I mean by a game is,
I know what you're saying.
I'm sure part of that statistic is a lot of those girls reached out and was the first one, right?
Yeah.
And maybe the guy thought, I got this one in the bag.
But
then every conversation after that is the girl's like, no, you treat me how I want you to treat me.
Yeah, or they're like confident, so they know their worth, so they're like,
I'm reaching out to you.
I reach out to you, and I'm not scared. But like, if you don't,
if you're not up to par,
I'm
still not. I don't like you anymore. I want to get to know you.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
And I think a guy would, you know, like, hey, I'm interested in you. Maybe, you know, oh yeah, let's do something or whatever. And the guy might think I got this in the bag, like whatever. And then like those conversations after make up for that. So, and I do think a lot of girls don't make the first move because they're like, well, does the guy think I'm just gonna like he's got me and stuff? And it's like, who cares if he thinks he's got you at first? You let him treat you and you let him know when you guys get to know each other.
And the guy doesn't got you until you let him get you.
And
you get
also,
what I'm saying?
Very true.
I'm not gonna lie, as a like when you talk about like girl pickup tips and stuff, I talked about safe or whatever, but like low key, if you like a guy and you think he's what you want, you kind of should let him know that he's got that you got, you know, he's got you, and then let him you make sure how you are and how he needs to treat you and who you are. But at the same time, guys like that. Guys like to be like protector, and like to be like, oh, you want me, like you know, and it kind of calms down a guy's ego when that happens too. You know,
it's like clarity too. It's like okay, like it's not a game. It's like, oh, I like you.
Yeah, that's
but like,
what I'm saying.
if you want to do something about it, like you want to continue, then you got to put in some work.
Right.
Like like for example, when we were talking about like where to meet guys, like I meet a lot of people, right? Like in all these socials and everything. They compliment me, but some of them don't go past that.
Yeah.
And then other people, it's like, oh, like there's an intention of like, oh, hey, like, are you free next week? Or like, you know, and like, but I would say that every guy there like flirts with everyone. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that it's like, oh, now he likes me because he did that. You know, it's until that intentional kind of like pursuing of them to you.
And the app, like whenever like the app space, I feel like would have to be a weird environment to begin with because the people are flirting with multiple people on both ends of the spectrum, you know.
But it's like
and so like it's like it definitely can add like that uninsurance to both sides of the party, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're talking to this guy initially, you think that he might be everything that you want, whatever, but it's like how many other girls are he talking with? And then the same thing on the vice versa side, and I feel like that's like what starts a lot of the games too. It can start on that.
But I think, in my opinion, because that's kind of like a lot of people feel that way. Yeah. And some of the girls I talk to that are dating and stuff, they'll tell me that's a common like feeling, you know? And like what I say is you got to think of it a little bit. Like if you're dating as an adult, you know, just like when we were dating in high school, if somebody had another girlfriend, it's like, oh, hell no. You guys were, like, together. And they didn't even, like, barely make out. You know what I mean? And it's like, and you were like, oh, hell no. And then, like, as you get older, you're like, I don't care if how many people she's kind of been with or he's been with for the most part. Obviously, there's a limit to everything. But it's like, that's not even a thing for me. It's also a different maturity to try to date as an adult, too, with that. Yeah. Where it's like when me and Christine started dating, I knew she was talking to other guys. You know, I was talking to other girls. Like, we didn't even think we were going to, like, stay together. You know what I mean? It was like right at the end, she had a boyfriend when we started talking. You know, and it's kind of like, that's what, but you gotta be, it's a little bit of, like, maturity to just be like, who cares? You know, like, if we are where we are now, that's just the history of it. And I think that goes to, like, dating lighthearted, right? Like dating casual and having that mindset of dating casual and not caring if this guy's talking to people. You should be talking to two other people just in case too, right? Like you should be trying to, and I know it's like as a guy that's easily said, and that's like, why I want to talk to you about it, because I tell my friends that are girls, like, you need to like if you got fired from your job and you needed to pay rent, you're putting out 50 applications. And then if you got options, you're going to pick the best option. And it kind of like, it's not the same, obviously, when it comes to dating, where like, I know some of my friends, she'll tell me like, I'm not going to like do that, you know? And it's like, but why? Like, what is wrong with dating?
Like,
right?
in general?
In general, dating multiple guys is not a problem.
It's harder, though. But I have to say, it's harder for women to do. Not all women, but I feel like that whole kind of, because we connect. We, like,
different.
Let's say we have, like, a really, really good date, and then, like, they text you and they follow up, and then they plan the next one. You're like, okay, he's, like, in it. Like, he's into me. You know, so you're kind of, like, already investing. I feel like it's very hard to be, like, that intentional with like 3 different guys. Like it's like, you can go meet up first date with different guys, but I'm telling you what, like, if you're on the second or third or fourth date with like 3 different guys, in my opinion, it's hard.
Now,
I've tried doing that with girls, and that shit's so exhausting to me.
It is
mentally.
exhausting.
I think
it's so exhausting to me, and I think that's because like the type of person that I am too, I tend to get like, I don't want to say it's easy for me to get emotionally attached to somebody, but when there's somebody that like has qualities that I really, really like, and I know for sure, I'm like, okay, this is somebody that has a lot of qualities that I'm interested in. So I'm really focused on that. So I've tried dating multiple people before, and that shit is so exhausting to me. Not just because of time, because of like this emotional, trying to like connections, trying to like relay all these different emotions everywhere. It's just so hard for me. I don't do good with that personally.
Yeah, and I can see that. I definitely see like that natural.
If you want to talk about like just hooking up. That's completely different.
No, but I think that would be more. Personally, I think that would be more draining.
That's what I'm saying. When I say dating, I mean like
you're talking about getting to know people,
right?
So like you just
and third or fourth date to kind of clarify what I'm talking about. Third or fourth date, you kind of like that person.
So you're like more intentional, but then you have that conversation of like, okay, we both kind of like each other.
Yeah,
so you're not talking a whole.
You date multiple people on your first or second.
Yeah.
When you start reaching third or fourth, now you can start being more intentional
and
put in a little more of your.
I was thinking more of like you were saying dating like longevity wise.
No, like 3 months with this
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like 1 date, 2 date, that's different.
Yeah.
But I say after like 4th, 5th date, you guys got to figure your shit out. And personally.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, like there's guys and girls that are having problems finding people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if that's the case, you can't think like those that are getting lucky, right? There's a majority of girls that are getting lucky and they are dating for a husband or whatever, and it is what it is. And I will say even of those that get lucky end up with somebody they shouldn't have been with if they were to strategically date at first. Like if you don't have feelings for none of these people, and you don't know if they have feelings for you, you don't know if they're just trying to make you a fuck buddy or whatever the case is. So you shouldn't feel like you owe them that connectivity until, like we said, like that third or fourth is like now you stop because you are dating with intention at that point. And I think that becomes less draining, you know?
Yeah. I think there needs to be I think everybody should be having that conversation too. Whenever they reach to that point where it's like, this is the person I'm interested in, you got to like definitely lay down your intentions, because I know sometimes people
it's hard, but
I understand it's hard and it's putting your heart on your sleeve at the same time. But if you don't do it, then if it's not said and boundaries aren't set, then there's no boundaries. And at that point, you're just setting yourself up for even more pain and future issues, I feel like, personally, than what it would be to just lay it on the table. I mean, personally, for me, that's how I feel.
You think so?
I think
no, but like I'm talking about third or fourth or fifth date. You could lay it. You could start to lay it on the table.
But on like the first
that's what I'm saying.
That becomes draining.
No, I think if you put that much pressure on a first date, I think it won't. It's exhausting. I personally feel like me getting like not being in a relationship and like switching the mindset to be like, okay, like I'm just trying to meet people. Like I'm not trying to like quote unquote find my husband, because that puts a lot of pressure. You're vetting people out and you're like, okay, like personally, like does he have a job? Does he have like, is he respectful? Like,
is he a creep?
Yeah, like
is he gonna murder me?
Basic things. Like you have some standards.
No, absolutely.
But then after that, I feel like you have to give it a chance the first time, and then be like, okay, like maybe this was a connection. Let me see further. Like, okay, a second. But at the same time, I feel like what you're saying is like putting that pressure of like, this has to be, or
no,
like,
I agree.
I think you should, especially when you're single and you're like just trying to meet people, definitely give options. And
of course.
Because guys definitely do that. They have multiple options and they're waiting for like, oh, this one didn't answer. Okay, then I'm going to hit up this one. Or like, I remember one time that I was like, oh my God, this is so obvious when guys like are talking to multiple girls, because it's like they go ghost. No. They go ghost for some time, then they come back around. Like, hey, following up about the thing. And then it's like, cancel, come back. Like, very unemotionally available men.
That feels like a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, could be too.
Some of those,
but like, I feel like a lot of people experiencing like ghosting, and I feel like that's when you know you're like, okay, so that guy wasn't as invested, but he seemed like it at first, and then it's like the day of, he's like, you're like, you haven't received like anything, like, hey, are we still meeting? But you're not gonna hit them up. It's like, oh, well, you didn't hit me up, then I guess we're not gonna go. Like, that's kind of my mindset. Like, if you hit me up the same day, like, no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Like, you have to plan. Like, my calendar is like, you have to book book your time because my time is valuable.
And you shouldn't want to be with somebody that's not busy a little bit, right?
Yeah,
like,
and if they're looking for someone, they have to make the time, like an investment.
Yep. And you can tell. Like, guys show you if they like you, and they show you if you're an option or something. And like you said, you saw it, you know?
Yeah.
And I just treat guys the same way they treat you. Why not? There's no stigma on it in my mind. And I understand it's true. Girls connect differently and date with different intentions. But what I'm saying is, like, you got to force yourself. Kind of like what we were talking about with hobbies, where you kind of got to force yourself at networking events and stuff like that. It's like, just force yourself to maybe tell yourself this person ain't shit until they show you there's something. And that might be more healthy as long as you're yourself. But mentally, you're like, he's going to disappoint me. Like, he ain't shit. But then just be yourself. And then they kind of, if they surprise you, they surprise you. If they don't, then you're not, like, disappointed or let down. And you just kind of keep moving. Yeah. That's a lot harder for girls. I don't know.
Because guys can be better on paper sometimes than, like, when you meet them. So you're like, this one is this. So you're, like, excited. Because you're like, maybe, you know? And then once you talk to them or you hear other things about them, then you're like, definitely not. This is like a fun, like, just like you hang out randomly, but he's not looking for anything seriously. Right.
No. And then you figure that out.
And then you figure, and if that's not what you want, then you just cut it. Like, at the end of the day, I remember my therapist told me, like, Liz, you have to get so, like, use your voice. Like, this guy is random. Like, you don't know him. You don't owe him anything. And she's like, if you feel uncomfortable, if you want to leave a date, if you're like, nope. Like, you can do that. Yeah. And if you want to give it a chance, then you give it another chance. But when you see the red flag, personally for you, that matters, cut it off. Yeah. Like, and that's what I told her. I was like, but that's like a guy. Like, I was like, it's kind of like you have to be heartless. And she's like, it's not that. It's that you have to have boundaries with yourself. Yep. You have to respect yourself.
Respect yourself.
And I was like, that's true. That's a little different. But we see it as, like, guys are F-boy. Like, you know, we have sometimes this perception of some guys, which not all guys are like that. And I will say, like, our experiences, yes, they shape a lot of this stuff, but it's not all men.
Right.
You know?
And you just happen, you got to kind of understand, too, you're in the field, right? Yeah. Like, if you're dating, you're going to get a certain percentage of that. You're just going to get
You're just building. All you need is, like, one person to figure that out.
And also,
that's
like,
all you need.
These guys are on different stages of their life. You're catching them at different stages. Who knows? It's timing matters. But I like verbiage is everything. Yes. Maybe I'm speaking more like that's why we have Elizabeth on, guys. No, but like I'm speaking from a guy's verbiage. Respect yourself. Yeah. And don't let them let you down. Yeah. And then treat yourself like how they're, you know, like
like having value. What he means to say is like you're having value with yourself, and also knowing that like they're and also knowing that they're lucky to be on a freaking date with you. Yeah. Like don't see it as like, oh my god, this one guy. Like, no, it's like, yeah, he's great, but I'm great too. And like, good for him that he went on a date with me. And it's not being cocky. It's just being confident in yourself and knowing. And as they show you who they are, then you decide.
And like, you went through something similar. Some of my friends have went through some things similar where they were in a young relationship for a long-term relationship, 6 years or so, and then you're single, right? And now you're dating or whatever the case is. And there's something about, like, a lot of girls, too. There's something about, like, that situation, not girls, period, but, like, a lot. From my perspective, I've seen a lot where it's, like, they hold on to that event maybe like there was something with them, right? And then it carries on to their dating a little bit. And it's like, how about... you were in a long-term relationship and that could have kept going. Like very easily could have kept going for 10, 15, 20 years. You could be in your 40s with a kid with this person and it was not right. And how about you're lucky that you found out early that it was not going to work out.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're able to date. And that's why I say, like, I try to tell her, and like similar to what we're talking about, where it's like maybe dating multiple people, like having that options and stuff, is like, oh damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. How about having like that? What was I saying again?
I'm talking about how if you have options,
God.
No, but you were saying when, like, getting back out there. Like, someone that was in a relationship.
You're lucky. You are lucky because you're at a moment where you're, like, clean slate and you should be as picky as possible and, like, surface level. What do you call it? Like, shallow. Like, be as shallow as possible. Like you said, you got money, you got this, you got that. Boom. You know, and then find out where you are in the market or what the guys are in the market, and maybe you lower or whatever. But it's like you have a chance to be as shallow as you want, and 2 years of that is nothing in comparison
to your lifetime.
Your life.
Yeah.
You're gonna
but
be
it's
like,
perspective, though, because I know when I was first going through it, that's definitely not how I felt. And I feel like people would tell you, like, yeah, but look at you. Like, you're in your prime. You're 25. And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm 25. Like, that's so old. Like, who's going to want to date me? Like, in that moment.
But when you're 50, you're going to look back and be like 25.
No, I know. And I'm like, dang, like 2 years of healing versus like being in going through a more heartbreak. So I completely agree with you, but I know that there are women that maybe are like, yeah, that's easy to say, but I know that it takes time. So I would say until you feel like you're not dating off of, like, let's say you did go through a bad relationship. My thing is not about jumping right back into the relationship field. I feel like you need to, like, take a little self-care time so that you kind of gain that confidence back and be like, okay, like, I know who I am. I know what I don't want anymore. And you kind of reevaluate so that you're able to date from a healthy place too. Because I feel like now, if I would have dated when it first happened, I'm sure I would have ended up back with a guy that was exactly like my ex.
Yeah.
You know why, though? Because that's what I was used to. That's all I knew. So until I was able to see what happened and, like, kind of my patterns and stuff, then I was able to be like, actually, that's not what I want and that's not what I deserve. Like, that's just, no, like, I wasn't even, like, I literally, the bar was, like, in hell, like, when I was in the relationship with him. Now I actually have, like, some things that I look for. And, like, now I, want certain things, and I care more about how I want to feel in the relationship versus of what he's trying to give me, which is so different. So that's my caveat on that. I know that everyone's a little different and people have different perspectives on that, but I definitely think that then you're able to, like, look at men and be like, okay, I know what I want, and like, this is not it for me, and that's okay.
No, that's true 1000%. I think
that's amazing. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I had like 10,000 things, but we'll be here for like 3 hours.
No, thank you for having me. I hope you guys got something out of all the different conversations we had.
Tips on hobbies. We got tips on picking up dudes, tips on picking up girls. We got dating insights and maybe some different perspectives for some of you that might need a little kick, or somebody that's not your friend, right? We're friends here, but somebody, a third party person and girl saying, like, and she's going through similar things and she's killing it, and it's like, it means it's doable, it means it's possible. And that's what I love about this episode, because you kind of told us about how you weren't thinking like that, and here's the things you did to kind of live your best life at this point, know, because I always talk about, my mom got divorced at 45 and she's happily married right now, and she's set and she's perfect, and it's like, I don't want to hear age, I mean, if you're having a kid, if you want a kid, that's one thing, I get that. But as far as just being with somebody and finding love in life and stuff like that, and finding a good person, because it's so much worse being with somebody that's not for you long term, because it's just not, it ruins your life. Think about it.
That's true.
Cost to this shit.
You really got to make sure the person that you choose for that longevity period of your life is set in stone, bro, because you think divorce is ugly, bro.
It makes or breaks your
or not
the
getting
person
divorced.
that you're with.
That's probably
or
uglier.
Just being in it, you're used to the bad treatment,
right? Like if you didn't your breakup was ugly, but if you guys didn't break up, that's way more ugly. Right? It's like, think about it that way when you meet these guys.
Definitely,
Girl.
I love that.
Come on,
you guys
girls.
have some good, just come on. I love it. I love the encouragement.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. Go follow. Go find Elizabeth. We're probably gonna be on her podcast here pretty soon. Stay tuned.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
Stay
tuned. Go follow her podcast. So whenever our episode drops with her, you can check that out too.
More girl talk.
Yes.
All right, you guys want to add anything?
That's it, man. Pocket watch out.
Pocket watch out.